Okay, so I am just gonna start editing the site. Basically, I have, if you're not familiar with my website, I have a website where I try to keep information that I write because I write a bunch. And one of the things that is most helpful is my computers and technology thing, where I've got my, oh no, okay. I've got a guide to buying computer information for 2024. What we are doing is we are updating this and replacing it with well, we're not replacing it because I'm just going to make a second page, but we are going to do a guide to buying the computer in 2026 because I completely forgot to do this for the entirety of 2025. So, okay. And I have like the absolute worst way of just making new pages on Wikipedia. This is easy, so that's what I do, which is you search for something and it says this doesn't exist. So do you want to create it? And yes, I do. So there's the guide, and what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to go in here and edit, and Control A, Control V, or well, paste. So okay. Let's see. A lot of this stuff is stuff that can pretty much stay the same. So thank you, Shield Foss. It's good to see you. That's very weird. Sorry. It's hi. I know we don't chat much on Tumblr, but hi. Like we do chat. Sorry. Hi. Oh, it's good to see people real time. Oh no. Oh no, that's a lot of fun. Okay. Um, so, all right. So a lot of this does not have to change. But there is some stuff that is absolutely going to change. Oh no, is this did I copy the wrong page? Oh, I did copy the wrong page. Okay, cool. Sweet. We're gonna go back, because that's not the one I wanted to edit. Want to Guide to Buying Computer Information 2024. And this one, edit. So, okay, but like, hi, thanks. um, Also, like, thanks for being first ever chatter. Now log out, have fun. Eventually, I think I'm going to make sure I'm going to make it so that like people of all who were logged in, logged out, whatever, can chat or can't chat, or everybody can chat. But at the moment, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I'm just trying to be like, uh, make sure that things aren't a complete tire fire if people are just kind of like randomly swinging by. So, part of the reason that I am updating this, like probably everybody is aware of the fact that computer prices have gone bug fuck insane. But also yesterday I got a I got a message from a vendor, and the vendor message was, "Hey, congrats! You are going to." I think I need to adjust my audio because I think I'm peaking it. Uh, sure, fine. The message from the vendor was that order everything that you possibly can before February 25th, because we're not going to be able to guarantee prices on any orders processed after that date, and we expect prices to go up by about 20% starting in March, which is great, just absolutely fantastic. So there's I want to, like, it's been a long time since I did OK Computer regularly, and I do want to start trying to do that again. I've just, work has been absolute garbage. So Doc Wife Sunshine rip. Yeah, no, computer prices absolutely. It's not great. It's real bad. Yeah, one of the things that I did also want to do is, let me see. Windows, 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 Windows. I did want to take a look at a couple of the tools that I use when I'm like, okay, cool. Let me grab a couple of these and move them over to the window that I'm using here. Grab a couple of the resources that I use for work for looking at stuff and prices and everything like that. And the one that's just absolutely miserable right now is looking at PC uh, PC part picker and the memory price trends. It's depressing. Um, so yeah, what is it? The 5600 for the DDR5? That's the one. There it is. Yay. That's not been fantastic. So and actually, since I do want to go to do OK Computer, I should probably also open up OK Computer in another window so we can update this as we find computer stuff if people want it. So my goal here was that if people did have questions about like finding a computer that like doesn't suck for like a price that isn't absolutely extortionate, I can hopefully help out, because that's what I do a ton of at work. It's what I was doing until 9 p.m. last night, trying to work something out for a client, which was just a fucking nightmare. It was like the client needs 3 computers within like the next week, so they can't like, there's some computers that are a pretty good price that would work pretty well for them and actually has more RAM than expected for it's like $1,250 for a T14, which is like not bad for like a T14, but they're not going to be in stock until March. So in attempting to find them 3 computers that are going to be available within the next week, that cost $1,000 more to get those faster. So yeah, just kind of a nightmare. So finding things has been a little crazy, and they've been pulling me off of doing procurement at work, but it's kind of interesting because nobody else really has the same fluidity of trying to find to pick 2 problem. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, like when we're working with business, a lot of people like totally understand like you you know, we are constrained by by just what's available. But it's actually been something really interesting because we had another acquisition, which I know I've mentioned briefly on Tumblr, and the acquisition was more of a merger. The company was almost as large as the pre-existing company, and they have very, very different procurement processes than we had, and it's been like a complete fucking tire fire trying to get things merged. They had about 12 employees and a client base of 90-ish, and did a lot of like pretty white glove service stuff. So it was like a lot of hand holding, a lot of taking care of people, and like basically instantaneous turnaround. But the way that they were accomplishing this for instantaneous turnaround with like purchasing stuff was that each employee had like a credit card that they could use to buy whatever. And the thing that's making me insane is like none of them have like when you're purchasing this is such a stupid thing to get into, but like when you're doing business acquisition, or not acquisition, but when you're doing business purchasing, you have to like pay taxes on things, and you have to like figure out how the taxes are going to get paid. And so we're in California, and we have a California resale certificate, which means that we are allowed to resell things that we don't have to pay taxes on, so we charge the client tax. But if you don't have a resale certificate on file with the business that you're purchasing from, so B&H is a place where I buy computers frequently and is a pretty good resource for purchasing computers and camera equipment and things like that. We have a reseller permit filed with them, so if I'm placing an order for something that's shipping to California, we don't pay tax on it. That is tax exempt because we're ordering it from some place that knows, like, you guys are our reseller. Sweet. You'll charge the taxes. We don't have to worry about it. And that's fine. But if somebody wants me to ship something to South Carolina, I don't have a tax exempt certification filed in South Carolina. So either I have to file one for that state for that business, or we have to pay tax and then file with the state of South Carolina to like get our tax back, because we're going to pay sales tax, and then the client is also going to pay sales tax. And it's just like, this is something that ends up getting very, very complicated, that like if you have one person who knows how to do this and knows where things are shipping from and can like talk to particular vendors that like keep this like managed, then that's a lot easier. I can talk to my VARs and I can have them like, okay, cool. It doesn't matter if I'm ordering from like our primary VAR, value added reseller, which like Ingram Micro is the big one. Ingram Micro is one that we've worked with forever. So like, if I'm working with my VAR, like, Ingram Micro can ship this. They know that everybody's like tax exempt. They've got all of the certifications filed. It's not a problem. But if you are a technician who is randomly ordering from some little fucking website that you've never had an account created from before, you're not going to file a tax resale certificate. You're not going to like file one for the state you're particularly shipping to. And you're also, because you don't understand this, because procurement is not your main job and it shouldn't be, you're not going to like take note of the tax that you paid. And so basically there's like thousands and thousands of dollars getting lost on this that like, like there's a part of me that's like, there's a part of me that's like, I actually like it when people pay taxes because I like it when roads are approved and things like that. So like the idea of double paying tax is not actually something that I find all that obnoxious. It also like, fuck the man, I'm not loyal to this company. But it's like, it makes me a little crazy because I'm the only one who cares. And so like I keep trying to bring this up and like the finance people care and they're like, oh yeah, that's super important. I'm like, cool, I can't get anybody else to pay attention. So people are like, why are you going so slow? And it's like, because I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to do it correctly. And they're basically, people are, it's been a bad couple of weeks at work. I'm getting moved into something better, but yeah, thank you. I'm glad you feel my pain. It's been so fucking weird. Like, okay. I'm gonna go insane. So, I've been doing procurement, and procurement is not something that particularly suits me. And my manager and my manager's spouse are the ones who are taking over procurement. My manager's spouse used to be the one who was doing our security stuff badly. It was fine. It was not to the kinds of security standards that I care about. So I was man, there's a I'm shocked people don't steal more. I'm shocked with the way that a lot of businesses approach security, that people don't steal more. I know people already steal a lot. I'm shocked that they don't steal more. I'm shocked that there's as little cybercrime as there is. Because holy shit. So yeah, right? Exactly. It's insane. So anyway, that person is being moved away from security, and they have a very different approach to like workday stuff than I do, which is that they just grind away at stuff and get things done. And that is, somewhat predictably, perhaps, I am somebody who has like significant bursts of activity and then like a lot of trouble getting back into things. And if I'm interrupted, I have a lot of trouble getting back into them. So it's hard for me to complete things on the kind of uh, timely scale that a lot of people are in need of at this new company. So they're moving this new person into this role, as well as the person who is my supervisor, who is, again, married to that other person, and who kind of did this job before I did, but was also, accidentally committing fraud in doing the job and didn't realize that until I was like, hey, we can't actually do that this way because that's fraud. So let's not do that. So those are the two people who are going to be taking over our procurement, as well as like actually some of the old team is going back to having the credit cards and the ability to purchase when they absolutely need to. And the thing that's so fucking frustrating about it is that like since January, I have been attempting to have like this process put in place that is like um, that documents things properly and makes sure that like the money moves correctly in the back end. And it's been a shitty process because we use shitty tools, and the shitty tool that I think that I can't mention online because they find people who mention them online and then sue them for breach of contract or some shit. Basically, they're one of those companies that you can't write negative reviews about because they'll be awful. Okay, hey, you can't do that. That's fraud. Yeah, yeah. The thing that was fraud was I'll get back to that in just a sec. I'm going to finish complaining about this process, and then I'll get back to the fraud. So it's minor fraud, but fraud nonetheless. But the deal is that the process that I was putting in place that was to specifically make sure that the money moved to our problems or through our system without any problems, and like that things were accurately tracked, because things have been so inaccurately tracked that last week we realized that we hadn't billed for a $20,000 server for an entire fucking year. I need to start drinking. I need to start fucking drinking. Anyway, so I'm trying to get the system set up that allows us to actually track our purchases and our sales and things like that. And it's a very arduous process that has a lot of steps that sucks. It sucks, and the software that we use sucks and kind of forces it to be this way. So I spend all the time. I had to present about this in a meeting. So here's how I talked about it when I was presenting it in the meeting and telling people the process that we had set up so that they didn't have to do this process, which is the process that I have to do, which is that if we want to charge a customer for a part, we have to create a ticket. From the ticket, we have to create an opportunity. From the opportunity, we have to create a quote. From the quote, once the quote is approved, we have to win the opportunity. Once the opportunity is won, we have to go to purchasing and fulfillment. We select the parts for each vendor in purchasing and fulfillment to create a purchase order. Once you've created the purchase order, you can add the order number from the client or from the VAR that you're ordering it from. And once you've done that, and that's saved, you can set it to the receiving date. Once the product has actually been received, you can go through and bill things, and it's just step, and some things are dependent on others, and you have to go back in and double edit, and you have to know what vendor you're purchasing things from ahead of time. So if you just need to randomly order a cable while you're on site so that somebody has a monitor cable, it obviously is pretty inefficient. But also that's the kind of thing that ends up getting lost. So that's the process that we've been working through that I had to set up. And we were also using a different quoting system instead of the one that we had been using before, because the quoting system that we were using before was adding just endless part numbers to our system and fucking up the billing codes for everything. So some things that were hardware were getting billed as software, and software stuff was getting billed as taxable products. And so we were supposed to be using this other system, but the other system, that was the one that I complained about so much on Tumblr that my boss was not letting me add part numbers. They ditched the thing where you couldn't add part numbers, and then they took away the system that I was using. So basically it's these two people who are now getting through the list of stuff that I had to do very, very quickly, because they took away all of the things that were making it so hard for me to get through that process. So now everybody's accomplishing stuff really quickly, and they're like, why was it taking you so long? And it's because you guys aren't doing the same thing that I was doing. What the fuck? So, it's been a little frustrating, and I'm getting moved to a department with a hey Bixby, hi. Yeah, no, I'm not. I should have been biting. I should have been embezzling. I haven't been. Oh, maybe this counts. I don't know. Yeah, okay. This is when I was cleaning up the office in San Diego. This was in San Diego, so I stole a mug from the company. But yeah, I should have been biting. But I am going to be working with a different supervisor starting pretty soon, and I very much like that person, and we work together very, very well. And oh, purpose. Okay, yes, I should have been doing on purpose fraud, but that takes me back to the accidental fraud. The accidental fraud that we had been doing was it was Apple related, and I'm not a huge fan of Apple to start, but Apple doesn't like working with resellers. Apple wants people to work with Apple, and they're a manufacturer, they can do what they want. It's very annoying that even in the purchasing realm, they want you to be in their ecosystem. They're so manic about getting people into their own shit that they don't even want us purchasing Apple products and then selling them at no markup to our clients. They're like, no, the client has to purchase from us because Apple wants to sell them the products and updates and everything like that. They don't want a MSP saying like, actually, no, you don't need to replace your computer right now. That'll go for another couple years. Apple wants to make money. And they also want the data from the people who are purchasing their products and everything like that. And so basically, we were just not telling Apple that we were resellers. We were pretending to be the clients when we were placing orders. So it's not really. I mean, it's kind of fraud because we're reselling it, and also, again, back to the tax thing. The way that we would get around this in terms of handling the tax is we would just add the cost of the tax to the total cost of the order device. The based kind of fraud. It is the based kind of fraud. Some ways, lying to Apple is. I'm not going to deny is okay. I don't have an ethical problem with that. Let's say, but it is the sort of thing that if you're at a company that you don't want to get completely dissolved by Apple's lawyers, that's the kind of thing where it's I don't have an ethical problem with this, but you guys are committing crime in a stupid way. You have to be better about this if you want to do fraud. But yeah, basically it was the way that I have resolved this is by actually getting us to order from resellers that we are allowed to purchase from. We don't do a markup on those products so that the clients are able to get a savings on it, and we don't really want to be known as an Apple reseller, honestly. And we have started actually enrolling people in Apple Business Manager, which we weren't doing before, which allowed a lot of the users for those computers to just brick their fucking computer because it wasn't part of the business's ecosystem. This is a bad company, guys. It's not a great time. Yeah, it's been kind of awful. So yeah. I'm getting changed to a slightly different role, and I'm actually getting changed to a significantly different role. I'm going to be working with somebody who I like a lot better, and we're going to be addressing stuff that I think is actually worth addressing and good for clients and not. I got really fucking mad at work the other day because we've been charging a client $1,000 a month for monitoring their servers and for network management, and the client wrote to me and said, hey, can I get a renewal quote for this device because it's expired? And I got an email from the manufacturer, and it was their firewall, and it turns out that their firewall wasn't in our system, and also neither were their servers, so we've been charging them $1,000 a month for almost 2 years for providing them absolutely zero fucking service. And when I brought this up with my manager and was like, hey, so this is a problem, the response was, well, if they did have an issue, we would cover it. They're basically paying us as insurance. And my attitude is, no, they're fucking not. They're trying to keep their systems up. It doesn't help to cover them if they get fucking ransomwared and their business information gets fucking stolen. That's not the point. The point of, we won't charge you for fixing the thing that we didn't prevent is not the point. The point is they're paying us to prevent shit, and we're... Okay, yeah, hi. Sorry. Anyway, that's a lot of yelling about that. Do we want to ask questions about computers? Are you guys looking for computers? Should I work on the website? Yeah. Poor large bastard gets this all the time, so you guys are getting the fact that I don't unload on him this much because every time I start talking about this, he's just you have to stop telling me these things or I'm going to go kill someone. So, because he worked in tech, he was working at companies like this for a while and hated it and quit, and that's why he works in the firearms industry, is because he's yeah, computers suck. I need to do explosions. So, and yeah, the entire industry is fucked in a exciting variety of ways. So, yeah. Yeah, no, every story at work is like that. It's everything. It's like I like Kafka. I really like Kafka. I like the metamorphosis, but it is one of those things where I'm like, I can never tell whether it's more metamorphosis or Bartleby the Scrivener, but either way, it's like they weren't. I don't think normal people deal with things like this quite so badly in their jobs. Like so, um, yeah, it has been torturing me. And again, the guy who I'm going to be working with, I like a lot. I think the role is going to be better suited to my skills, and it's going to be kind of a. We hired a guy to do customer experience stuff, and he's fantastic. He's really, really, really good with people. He's not particularly good with technology, and I think that there was an assumption that he was better with technology than he is. But what I'm supposed to be doing is kind of being sort of a junior to him, and this is also not the person who's going to be directly supervising me. This is just another team that I'm going to be on. But working with him, and when there are technical things that come up, which of course there fucking would be at a MSP, to talk to clients about that, like I'll be on the meetings and I will be the one who's explaining, okay, here's the deal with your network. This is what we need to do to improve things. These are the, possible risks and everything, which is why we recommend X, Y, and Z. And talking to the people who are listening with like the appropriate level of technical knowledge so that they understand what's happening but don't feel condescended to. And as it turns out, that's something that like I'm pretty fucking good at because I've been attempting to explain technology to people on Tumblr for a decade and a half. Yeah, and I mean also like that's absolutely something that I would do at the old business was we would have little old ladies come in who didn't understand things, and I was the only one who could talk to them without making them feel fucking stupid, which they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They should feel fine. And yeah, that's the deal. Is like we need to make sure that people are understanding what we are saying to them, but also not feeling condescended to, and also that we're not overloading them with too much technical information. And I think that's actually where I'm most likely to have the most problems. But I think we can work around that. I think I'll be able to adapt to that. So yeah, so doing that, and then also doing like license audits and things like that. And also we are apparently going to be attempting to build like a totally sick database, dudes. But like no, actually we're going to be attempting to like create a client information database that's like more comprehensive than the like 6 products in a trench coat that we use to do the same thing right now. Because at the moment, if we want client information to like do a scorecard on like what their environment looks like, we're looking at data that's coming from like several different places. It's being compiled by several different people, and it's like, well, all of these things are systems that we can log into and get information from. So why don't we have them all spit the same information into like one place, and then we can just like create and extract a report from that. So that's what I'm going to be helping to do some of like the data architecture from, and talking about like what's necessary for that. Because the thing is, I'm currently one of the things that extracts that information. Our the product that we use that I'm not allowed to name is fucking terrible at reporting. It makes the worst fucking reports. It's so obnoxious to get information out of. But we have one person on the team who's gotten pretty good at getting reports extracted so that you can at least have like an export of the information in a spreadsheet. I have gotten pretty good at using the really awful tools within the system to create dashboards so that you can actually get a live and ongoing report. And it's all terrible, and it shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard, but whatever. Yeah, things are hopefully going to get better. Things are hopefully going to get better. So, but again, that's also part of why I'm trying to do this and trying to write more for my other websites and do more media criticism stuff, is because I actually don't give a shit about this industry, like at least not in this way. I like our clients. We have some really wonderful clients who do really, really cool stuff, and I'm glad that we're supporting them. But I just, this sucks. So it's large bastard keeps saying, born too late to explore the planet, born too early to explore the galaxy, born just in time to sell software as a service. It's like, yep, that's what it is. It blows. So I also I would very much like to try to get people on board with like all right, hey, we're gonna stop selling software as a service, and we're just going to start like doing as much like open source implementation as we possibly can. But uh, some people are on board with some of that stuff, and I have been able to get some things put in place where it's like, hey, this might be a better option for you than the other thing. Please stop giving quite as much money to Microsoft and Google because fuck Microsoft and Google. Please don't make me sell you Adobe because I don't want to fucking sell Adobe. So yeah, we've been working on some of that, and some of it's been helpful. So, but anyway, there was theoretically, initially at least, a purpose to this stream. So again, if people do have questions about computers, given that this is what fucking RAM pricing looks like, and that's pretty tiny. So I just want to point out this is $100 for two 16 gig modules up until September of 2025, and now it's at about $475. So the prices have gone crazy. And it's a little nuts, but I wanted to kind of get back into doing OK Computer. So I guess my goals for this stream were to like update the guide to buying a computer for 2026, and to see if people wanted help finding computers that were okay prices, and do an update on OK Computer for the first time and for fucking ever. Maybe also explaining like what computers are, what an okay computer price is these days. God, that's going to be so fucking depressing. Let me go look at the last post from there. And also, I'm sorry if you think that I swear a lot while I'm writing. Yeah, it's a lot. Uh, the problem with having as many Tumblr blogs as I do is like scrolling through to find the blog that I'm actually looking for. I think I'm up to 60 at this point. Love my side blogs. Sorry, still scrolling. There we go. All right. Lots of asks. Talking about Apple. Oh, God. All right. Okay, computers for the week of 12/22/2024. It's been a minute. So there was a new Lenovo Idea Center compact desktop with a 14th Gen i5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gig SSD, and Windows 11 Home for $549. And the new laptop, oh my God, was a Dell Inspiron with a 12th Gen i5 and 32 gigs of RAM for $489. And at this point, 32 gigs of RAM costs just about as much as that entire fucking computer. Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, so if you're looking to build a PC as opposed to doing a pre-built, I'm not as good on like gaming machines or things like that, but it really it depends on your use case. Sometimes you can find pre-builts that are going to be a better price. Just like one of the weird things that I was running into yesterday was that I was able to find mid-range computers with 32 gigs of RAM for less money than I was able to find mid-range computers with 16 gigs of RAM, like saving $200 or $300 because that was simply what was in stock and the prices hadn't been changed for the month yet. So sometimes if you're looking for like particular specifications and everything like that, you can find a better deal, but it's usually very, very like specific timing that's required for that, and it of course is going to depend on your use case. If you're doing it for gaming, you are almost certainly better off doing a pre-built. It is almost certainly going to be cheaper, but that's also not something that I can offer a ton of help with because I don't generally buy individual components separately. Though if we wanted to find the component, we can 100% do that and see if I can find better deals for you, or like let you know which sites where it's like, hey, this is actually a reputable site where like we have purchased things before, versus like, I don't know what the fuck that is, I don't trust it. So but yeah, it's it's yeah. if you want, you can give me a component list, and we can see if we can find the best possible pricing and link it and everything like that. Because that's exactly what I wanted to do on this kind of thing, just with like individual like laptops or desktops. So I guess what I'm going to start with is we're going to start by, man, I'm gonna I oh man, yeah, I'm absolutely gonna accidentally dox myself. I'm certain that I have already accidentally doxed myself. Let's see. All right, I just need to. I did not change the settings that I needed to on some of my stuff before setting up the stream in such a way that I'm like not fucking with things. So, but um, let's go to B&H. Okay, and so uh, computers, like, I mean, the funny thing about all of this is a lot of it is just it's online shopping. Like everybody to a certain extent knows how to do online shopping, but laptops. But I guess the deal is that, like, people may look at stuff and they don't know they know how to do online shopping, but they don't know how to tell quality. I don't want to see your expert picks. I want to see everything. Don't don't be an asshole. Work and business laptops, basic laptops, gaming laptops, creative laptops. I also don't like these categories because these could all be the same. So, but we'll start with basic laptops because that's what most people are looking for. Who was it? My therapist. I was talking to my therapist who's looking for a computer for her son who's going to college, and yeah, might as well find something for her. So let's see. Savings in stock. I want things only. Ooh, there were only 17 in stock. That's not ideal. Oh, God. Ah, no, that's not the correct amount of RAM. So, oh my God. Oh God, it's a disaster. Sorry, the fact that there are like 11 with 8 gigs available and only 3 with 16. That's not bad though. That's not bad. Okay, so the Asus VivoBook, I think, is actually the same one that I was talking about last year on OK Computer, or like I know I had been talking about it before. So, okay, yeah, so 429, I mean, that's obviously a markdown from this is okay, so it's Ryzen 5, which is not ideal. Oh, also I was going to show you guys this. Let's click into this and we will do let me see what the actual specs are on this. Processor. This is the Ryzen 5 7430U. I'm still not as good on Ryzen processors as I am on or on AMD processors as I am on Intel, but that's why I can use a comparison tool for this. So the tool that I use here is Technical City unbiased hardware comparisons, which sounds sketchy as fuck, but at the same time, like, it's pretty fucking accurate, and it's something that means that I don't have to go search and like dig through like a bunch of complicated information. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to compare the processor that's in the computer that I'm currently looking at with the processor for the last computer that I had on OK Computer, which was a i5 1235U. Okay, details. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, yes, versus. Oh, processor. Sorry. What? Why did that? Okay. I don't know why that went away. Okay. Okay. Where's your comparison? Why are you not spitting out my comparison? Okay. Sorry, I guess I did details on just the one processor instead of the other, so. Okay. I don't know why this is misbehaving. Typically what this does is it should compare two processors against one another as opposed to only giving me... Let's try a different Ryzen. Okay, AMD Ryzen 5. No. Okay, compare as opposed to details. I don't... Okay, there we go. So, all right. The Ryzen is definitely at least a little bit better in some performance terms. Oh god, they're both under... What the fuck? Why is this 12 this i5 like lower rated than like a different processors, man? So it's kind of shit. It's kind of shit, but if you're looking for a $429 computer, it's not the absolute worst. And that's part of why these prices are as low as they are, is because they're... sorry. Yeah, I'll actually provide the link. Technical.city. Because there's also a very reasonable possibility that like I read that wrong. Like it's important to remember that like I am dyslexic and I might be reading something completely backwards. Yeah, so that's kind of a trash processor, but like a little better than the last processor that I had recommended as like a basic computer. So all right. So 16 gigs, shit graphics, but like what you would expect for... This is like your prime college student laptop. Like this is exactly what you need as a college student. This is a I'm fucking around, browsing in bed kind of computer, as opposed to a like it would probably be less than I need to do like my average workday stuff, but would be perfectly fine for me to do like hanging out on Tumblr and writing in the evening kind of thing. So that's the one that we're gonna keep open over there. And I can't... Okay, so this is also part of why I don't like when people like divide things up like this. I just want... Okay, let's just go computers, all computers. Just show me fucking everything. I want all laptops. I don't want just business or whatever. Like, also don't want your expert pick, but okay, cool. Let's just look at all of the business. Okay, and the best starting place for any of this, hey, that actually has like a reasonable number. So best starting price or place for any of this is to start with RAM, because it immediately sorts out the stuff that is just absolutely not going to work. Yeah, let's leave 64 in there just in case. Just fuck it. Apply selection. Savings in stock, and 296 in stock for business, which is great. And actually, see, this should all just be in one category. First of all, you don't need the 365 in the kit here, but like at the same time, like this is something that's definitely got like a better processor. So let's actually take the same processor information from this and compare. So specs and copy back over to Technical City. And so now we're going to compare the Ryzen from the cheaper computer with the Core 5 from the more modern computer. And like, it's still not ideal, but it is a year newer, and it is, it's a almost 20% improvement on it. Is the cost of that worth it? Like, $599 versus $429. Like, that's a pretty significant jump. If it's your desktop computer for work, or if it's the primary computer you're using for work, that is the kind of thing where it's like, maybe that's worth it. Just because you're probably going to get a little more longevity out of it. It's probably going to like hold up a little longer. So, but like that's one option. Let's see if we can find better options. And okay, so that's RAM, and there's nothing else that I like get super duper aggro about. So I'm, other than not currently buying HP. But let's sort by. The processor is in charge of, like, it sounds stupid, but the processor is in charge of processes. If you're thinking about the difference between, so the three primary components of a computer that you have to think about or you have to worry about are your processor, the memory, and the storage. So the processor thinks about all of the things that your computer is currently doing. So right now the processor on my computer is running Firefox. I think I closed down all the other programs except OBS, which it is also currently running. That's the Twitch software that I'm using, or the streaming software that I'm using. So the processor is handling all of that, while like the RAM is remembering what's on screen. So random access memory means that it's like short-term memory. So it's the stuff that's like current and like in a active state on your computer, versus like storage, which is like keeping information. So like your files are in your hard drive storage or your SSD storage. The stuff that's in a current state on your computer, or that is like like if I was using Photoshop and I had a whole bunch of settings applied to a photo that I was working on, that would be saved in the RAM, and wouldn't be having too much of an impact on the processor. And then the processor is just like doing a million things a minute and think about all the processes. So, yeah. But yeah, so looking at the business computers, okay, I'm actually going to see what the best price we can get for something with 32 gigs is. That's not bad. And it's a Ryzen 7. Is that an older generation? Gonna go compare this also. Okay, are you actually going to compare? Buddy, why do you not update? Sorry, I don't usually have the problems like this running using a technical city. It's calling me out because I didn't prepare for this. Okay. Oh, hello. Tiny bastard's hanging out. She's trying to decide where she wants to go in the office. I have this adorable little doggo nook set up for her that she absolutely refuses to use. So there are 3 other beds in this office that she wants to use better than the. Yeah? Do you want to say hi? Okay. Yes. She says hello. She says, I am small. We're going to make the tiny bastard bigger on the screen because she's the best. Do you see? You don't see. You don't know. You don't understand anything. You don't know what's happening. She's having a good day. She a little girl. Yeah. She probably really wants to go to sleep on my lap, but she can't. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking about getting like a one-handed keyboard, like one of those ones that's like an orb that is like primarily used for like disability accessibility purposes, but primarily so that I can like hold her in my lap with my left arm and then just type entirely on my right hand. So, yeah, you would be worth it because you like to be in the lap. She didn't used to. She does now. She the best. Hello. Hello. Yeah? Okay. You want to get down? No. Okay. There's a big window here, and she knows that she can see cats outside of it if she looks long enough. So she does also like to be in my lap for that purpose. Okay. Yeah. Too much cable. We're gonna you can go. You can go back down and get some water, eat some crunch. She has very ears. She has the most ears. No, we're not gonna go outside right now. So yeah, I love her floppy little ears. She's so good. Um, sorry, back to compute. She's the best dog. She just so what peak performance looks like. Um, yeah, computers. All right, so this is actually not an awful price for a laptop with 32 gigs of RAM. Oh, that's right. I was comparing processors. Before I was distracted. Um, she is incredibly spoiled and absolutely runs the house. Honestly, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why it's not like producing the buttons that it normally does for these comparisons. Okay, Technical City usually works. I don't know what's going on here. It's possible that my computer is or that we have really good internet, but we also have like actual plaster walls in the house. So I'm currently on Wi-Fi, and I am several rooms away from the access point, and so it doesn't want to go through the plaster because there's actual chicken wire in the walls, or there's like yeah. So my if things are slow. Sometimes it's a little slow using this computer in this room. But also like I don't want to keep tripping over a cable, and I haven't yet had somebody come out to pull cable for us. We're probably going to eventually have somebody like actually put fucking cable in this room. So, because yeah, it has kind of been an issue. Sometimes I'll do like a speed test or something like that, and it's like large bastard will have moved the access point by like a couple of feet or something, and yeah, it'll drop down to like complete unusability, and my Zoom calls will stop working for work. So it's like you can't do that, babe. Um, so I told him I was streaming today, but he has probably forgotten. So there's a reasonable chance that he is going to wander in here at some point and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I will have to be like, "You can't be in here." All right, what were we going to do from here? Desktop. So let's see. Opening up another window over here. And actually, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to go to eBay and find non-shit computers for people in case $500 is way above your budget, because that is true for a lot of people. I actually have. Do I still have them saved? I had. Don't be a fucking bitch, Windows. Sorry, opening it in the wrong fucking window. Okay, that's gonna make me insane if it keeps changing. Sure, electron microscope. We were searching for that the other day. Sorry, it was just the flashing was gonna make me nuts. I think I actually have the searches that I used to use saved to my desktop. Yes. There we go. Oh, it's really remarkable to me that I did not get diagnosed with ADHD until my 30s, because I have a document saved that is called OK Computer Searches that is supposed to be specifically for like links that are search terms, or like preset searches for this, and instead the top 2 pages of it are searches for. I got really mad at somebody talking about alternative cancer cures. So it's a whole bunch of research that is saved to talk about alternative cancer cures, which is probably predictable. Because I do get aggro about some alternative cancer cures. So let's see how this search goes. Search still kind of worked. So let's see. Yeah, the deal is like sometimes it's really annoying on eBay to like get like all of the specs for everything, like all the boxes checked again and everything like that, because like it involves a whole bunch of different like processors that you have to add in and allow and everything like that. And I probably do need to update this because yeah, let's see all the processors that are like checked or unchecked or anything like that. So, because there are probably some that I would shy away from at this point, and there are probably some that need to be added. So, like uh, Core 5, and I didn't have any Ryzen selected, and I probably or AMD selected, and I probably should at some point. But yeah, this is basically a simple version of the search that I would do. But yeah, so in attempting to find like an absolutely like non-garbage but still affordable, I do need to adjust this because I think that 10th gen is probably not reasonable at this point. So let's go back to see all. And yeah, I do think that we are past the point where 10th gen, because 10th gen at this point is now getting to be like we're on second gen of the new releases. So yeah, 10th gen is like 7 years ago. So just a little bit too old. And yeah. Yeah, the choices like that are saved in the link, and basically like let me once again trying not to dox myself on anything. So hang on just a sec. This is going to be a silly way of doing this. All right. So yeah, the link that I have for that is this. So it's a massive link because that's got it set with all. That's why I had them pre-saved. Is because it's like you can see that this is like, all right, i5 13th generation is like way buried down in there. So you can use the same search link over and over, and it'll return the new information about the contents on the website and save you some time. And that was part of what was going on in when I was doing OK Computer, was that it was taking a long time to do searches. And part of it was also that I think I just overextended myself in terms of like agreeing to answer asks, because maybe sometimes I get a little overzealous with my ability to do things. Okay, I'll throw in, no, those are older. I'll throw in the Pro 7000 series, and no, still a little newer than that. I probably need to do this search completely from scratch because the newer processors are not included on it, so there's probably something that limited that. But regardless, here are refurbished computers that like probably would be pretty reasonable to purchase and like have a functional computer for at least a couple years. If you were a college student who was broke and you couldn't afford to get a new computer, you could get probably a couple years out of this $200 Dell Latitude. So frequently you can actually also find things like this at like thrift stores, but if you are not technical enough to like work on it and get something like up to speed, sometimes it's better just to do something like this. When you're looking at eBay, when I've given the recommendations for eBay in the past, one of the things that I typically look at is like, who's the seller to a certain extent, because a lot of these are computers that are purchased bulk, either from auctions or like from office shutdowns or things like that. So somebody like I was on U.S. auctions the other day looking at like government auctions of looking at government auctions of forklifts. So uh, because I'm normal. Large Bastard does want a forklift, by the way, but I'm not allowed to get anything that's over 6,000 pounds. But uh, like I was looking at government auctions the other day, and one of the things that they had, or several of the things that they had, were lots of computers that had been used by the U.S. government, and like it had the specifications, or it was like a bunch of random things. But what people will do is they'll buy a couple of hundred of these, put them on a bench, get them all like up to speed, up and running, swap in parts that they've taken from other things, and just, come out in the end with like enough functional computers to sell that, like, if it costs them, you know, $50 a piece for the computers that they got in the auction lot, then they can make a ton of money by selling them for $200 a piece. It is a business that I have considered doing, if I'm being completely honest. But it's got a fair amount of like overhead. But yeah, any of these. There are a lot here that are also showing the 11th gen, so I'm just gonna see what happens if I look for 12th gen and up, because 12th gen is like legitimately like recent enough that it's like solid. Um, no, 12th gen, I do want that. And 13th is fine, of course. And so let's see. Because, yeah, if there's something here that's like $300 but is like a year newer because it's a 12th gen or something like that, yeah, like this is a good deal actually. So this is an i7 12th gen with 32 or 16 gigs of RAM. That's great. Let's see what happens if we, it looks, there are even a ton that have 24 and 32. So just see what's like the absolute max. And like, yeah, that's definitely like, it's $100 more expensive, but if you're looking at something and it's like, okay, 14-inch computer, like compared to like the first way that this search was run, and like it had 250 for something that has like essentially half of the RAM and a much lower level processor. This is great. This is fantastic. What's the processor? Why are you not saying processor if they're in the header, bud? Um, this is also why, like, I understand why people get frustrated looking through stuff and not want. Okay, so yes, it is an i5. So the other one was an i7 for 250. So whether the processor or the RAM is the bigger deal for you. Processors also, like, you're looking at like $100 jumps on things. So like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to explain like the sorting algorithm that lives in my head. There are a whole bunch of variables when purchasing a computer where you can assume that it's going to change by like $100. So an i5 processor versus an i7 processor is generally about $100 difference. In the past, the difference of 32 gigs of RAM versus 16 would be about $100 difference. Until actually quite recently with business computers, the difference between a 512 gig SSD and a 1 terabyte SSD was actually like $200. Like it was quite a significant jump. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out if a laptop with an i5 and 32 gigs of RAM is equivalent to a laptop with an i7 and 16 gigs of RAM. And the world is so different these days because I would normally say get the i7 and spend the money on the processor and then throw in RAM after the fact. But if it comes with the RAM in it now and the price is low, the RAM might be the better option. But the processor is the one thing that you're really not going to be able to upgrade. So yeah, everything's different. Everything's different. I'm really scared. Like, oh, it's out of stock. Why is this? Um, why is it even showing things that are out of stock? That shouldn't be the case. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck is going on with I don't know what the fuck is going on with the industry. And I'm not like scared, but I am more skeptical of the computer industry. Hi. Yes, it is working. I did get it working. Hi, welcome in. Yeah, it's but yeah, like in like I want to say 2012, 2013. That was when we started seeing Microsoft make a really big push towards 365, and it was making it so that like in order to use Microsoft programs, you had to kind of be like, yes, a terabyte is around 1,000 gigabytes. So God, that's another thing that's changed drastically with the switch from hard drive to SSD. Hard drives are drives that have a metal spinning disk inside of them, and SSDs are silicone flash memory. Um, and SSDs are faster and they are more common in computers these days than they were 5 years ago. They are also more expensive than a hard drive is. There are advantages to using an SSD, but one of the things that was becoming very common right at the end of when hard drives were the standard was larger and larger and larger storage for like essentially the same price. So when I first started selling computers, um, 256 gig HDD versus 500 gig HDD was basically the choice that we would have. And then it got to the point that like 500 was the standard, and then it got to the point that 1 terabyte was the standard. And we were getting to the point that in business computers, 2 terabytes of local storage was becoming the standard. And then things started switching to SSD, and that has all gotten significantly chopped down. So, and like you can see, like this is all, 512, 512. I think I set 512 as the minimum here. Let's see. Did I? Because I think you should. I think you should have storage on your computers. But that's the thing is like, yeah, in about 2013, we started seeing things push to having to always be online in order to have like the complete functionality of the program. And like the example that like immediately jumps to front of mind because it was the one that like pissed me off the most at the time was the spell check in Word. And I remember having this argument with my coworkers standing in the office and just going like, what do they think? Do they think people are going to be always connected? Like there are going to be times when you don't have access to the internet, and the idea that your computer is not going to work that's not connected to the internet is like not great. I don't like that idea. And like, the thing is that at this point, pretty much everybody is connected all the time, which is not great. And there's stuff that you should be able to do without having to be connected to the internet, and that's kind of hard these days. A lot of stuff is either totally cloud-based, so you have to be connected to the internet, or it's not going to work at all, or it's all saved in the cloud, and if you're not connected to the internet, you're not able to access your OneDrive or whatever it is. And like that's looking at what's going on with computers right now and the prices of computers and the way that things are going absolutely insane as a result of the increasing RAM prices is like, yeah, save to OneDrive, my beloved. Everybody at work hates working with me on like saved hardware because, or on saved files because like I have like forcibly like castrated OneDrive on my computer. Like it doesn't work. So anything that I do has to be done through like SharePoint in the browser. Because I'm just like, no, I don't want that on my fucking. I write porn on this computer. There are photos of me naked on this computer. There are like videos of me naked on this computer. I don't want the possibility that like anything from work is connecting to this. And until you send me a fucking computer that belongs to you and that I'm not putting fucking porn on, like, no. And we have actually ordered a computer for me. We ordered it at the end of 2025, and we are arguing with the vendor because the price increased $400 between the time when we purchased it and it was supposed to ship because it was back ordered when we placed the order. So we have to be like, hey, look, we placed the fucking order. You had us able to order it, like even though it was back ordered. Like you've got to honor this price. Whatever. We'll see what fucking happens with that. But like, at the moment, I'm the only person in my company who has an exemption to continue using my personal machine at work, and everybody fucking hates working with me because I have things so strangled that there are things that I just can't fucking do. Because it's like, no, I made it so my computer doesn't do that, and they're like, but we need you to do that. And I'm like, cool, send me a computer. But yeah, living in rural areas and not being able to connect to the internet, like it's like satellite internet doesn't cut it. And like, I mean, sometimes it does, but then sometimes it rains. Like I have friends who live in Washington who have satellite internet, and like if the trees are too thick, the internet doesn't work, so you need to get your trees trimmed. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, this is you should be able to do work on your computer without having to be always on. And like, yeah, you should also be able to save things to your computer. And oh god, yeah, my coworker got a new computer recently, and he was having some problems, and he asked me like, hey, what's going on with this? Like, I just got this new thing. Why is my hard drive like? He got a computer with a 256 gig SSD, and it's like, man, I would have gone more than that, but okay. But he sends me a screenshot of like the storage, and he's like, what is going on with this? This is brand new. I just set it up in January, and it was like 90% utilized, and it was entirely fucking Windows updates. So I had to tell him like, okay, here are the settings to change so that it's not going to like store the updates on your computer and like cause these issues or whatever. But like that sucks. Also, Windows takes like, it reserves like 60 fucking gigs on your SSD. I hate Windows. Sorry. This computer is probably still going to stay Windows, and like I am probably going to always have a Windows machine simply because of the old ass Adobe software that I have and want to keep running. But like, yeah, other than the work machine that work is going to provide and whatever machine I have to run Photoshop CS6, like I'm becoming entirely Linux because I hate everything. I hate Windows so much. But yeah, no, the personal computer thing at work, like, yeah, Autodesk too. God. The personal computer at work thing, like, if you know me from Tumblr, you know Gary. Gary didn't buy anybody a computer when COVID started happening, so everybody just used their personal machines to work remotely. And then when it was time to upgrade, Gary didn't pay anybody for upgrades either. So that was one where my computer started slowing down at the beginning of 2021 because I think I had had it since 2015, and I think I actually made a video that I believe I cross posted to CompuServer that was upgrading the RAM in that old laptop. And then I upgraded the SSD or upgraded to an SSD in that laptop. And it still just got like slower and slower. But I ended up actually giving it to one of our clients. Her husband had lost his job, and she had been super duper nice to me, like so fucking nice to me. When Large Bastard was having his transplant and everything like that. So I was just like, hey, yeah, I will bring a computer to you. You can have free computer. And that's when I replaced this one that I'm currently using, which is a Lenovo IdeaPad that's great. I love Lenovo's. So I know brand loyalty and everything like that, but yeah, computers and cigarettes, that's where brand loyalty matters. Don't smoke. Sorry. um, uh, but yeah, I will say I have a ton of computers around the house that I'm gonna start using to fuck with shit because breaking down the two old offices, there were a bunch of things that came in. I actually was trying to, okay. So I hate my job and I hate the company that I work for, but there are like legitimately things that I think could happen in the industry that could make it like better, and those are things that I want to do. So like one of the things that happens is we have all of these computers to like recycle and e-waste and everything like that, and it's like, well, how about, you know, one thing that a lot of companies do is they will resell computers like that, and it actually was kind of a problem because one of the companies that is like our three companies in a trench coat, they would take in the old computers from their clients that were getting replaced, and they would refurb and resell, but they wouldn't tell them that they were refurb computers. So we have all those people out there who have computers that are like 3 or 4 years older than they think, and it's like, why would you fucking do that? Why would you do that? What the fuck? So, I wouldn't want to do that, but like the idea of like getting all of these computers where it's like, look, this is a perfectly cromulent business class laptop, like, we can wipe it and get it up to date and everything like that, and this could easily be something that like you could donate to schools or like just post online and, hey, if anybody needs a free computer, or like yeah, like, so I'm skeptical generally of electoralism because I am in fact an anarchist, but at the same time, like, I like what like the DSA is doing with a lot of things, and I don't necessarily know that I'm ever interested in being a member of the DSA. However, my local DSA does a lot of really cool projects that, like, a lot of like direct action and activist groups do. So like one of the things that they do, of course, is like taillight checks and replacements, and that's something that I want to start doing with them, is just going out and like replacing people's taillights, and maybe even doing like a little bit of like automotive diagnostics and stuff where it's like, okay, cool, you bring your car to this check to make sure that your taillights are in okay shape so that you're not going to get fucking pulled over. People replace your taillights for free because maybe you don't know how to do it or you can't afford to have it done. And I would love if there was just like, I've got an OBD sensor, I've got like mechanical knowledge, I've got tools, and just being able to be like, hey, cool, like, is your car making a weird noise? Do you want to ask about it? Like, without having to take it to mechanic. But like, if we were doing something along those lines, but also just like, and I have 20 free computers. If you are a college student who needs a computer, or if your computer's dying or something like that, come get a free computer. Like, because there are, always people who, like, I see it all the fucking time, people running like fundraisers on Tumblr where it's just like, I use this computer, but it's dying, and it's this, that, and the other thing, and I'm trying to replace it with this thing, and it's like, they're trying to replace it with an inexpensive like refurb computer, but they're looking at something that's either sketchy or like that they're getting it from someplace that's like questionable or whatever. That's part of why I started OK Computer, was so that people would have like a reliable source. And I do want to get back to it. But also, like, if I'm getting all of these computers that are coming from work for refurb, I would much rather like give them away to people who need computers. So, because I see so many people who do. But yeah, I also would definitely. I I would probably set them up with Windows because that's what people are used to. But at the same time, there are definitely things where I'm like, this is old enough that I can throw Linux on it. Like this is old enough that I'm just gonna put Mint on this one and somebody can use Mint and they'll be okay. But you know, it's I also don't want to surprise people with unexpected Linux because that's an unpleasant surprise if you don't know how to use it. Yeah, I have no idea about gaming on Linux. I think large bastard dual boots like well and I like I don't know what the fuck he does with his gaming computer. I don't know how the fuck he keeps that thing running. It's from 2015 and it's a mystery to me because he plays a lot on it, but he also like only does PC gaming and it's like primarily like I don't know video games. I don't understand video games, but like I feel like what he is doing in Arma is the equivalent of what people were doing in that like video game about the animals on the cute island. Like because all that he ever wants to do is like build his base and organize things. So he's just like, look, I made it. It's 3 stories and it's got this, that, and the other thing. And it's like you're building a dollhouse, sweetheart. Like it's a dollhouse surrounded by zombies because of whatever like version you're running, but that's a dollhouse. And he's like, yeah, I know, but like look how pretty the rain is. Okay, good job, sweetheart. Um, I could set it up to dual boot, but basically the stuff that I'm thinking about doing is probably for a level of user where that would be confusing and scary. And there are people out there who have that issue. You know, like again, I hate my job. I fucking hate my job, and I'm trying to do information literacy and tech literacy and things like that. And I'm trying to eventually like spin that into being a career somehow, maybe, possibly. But like one of the things that I would want to do is you know, we have senior centers around, and I would want to go to the senior center and work with people on computers and things like that. And that's the kind of audience that I'm thinking of, where it's like, you know, somebody who, or even like you know, talking about like trying to find a computer for my therapist for her college student son or her son who's going to be a college student. The only computer he's ever had has been a Chromebook. Like he's I would not be at all surprised if an 18-year-old in 2026 was like as terrified of like a computer that can dual boot as like a 90-year-old would be. So yeah, and it would take up a ton of space. Which do I have that? Do I have this in my desk right here? I'm trying to. I have a brick. I have a brick of like this big, 256 gig SSDs because we would pull them from computers that we were buying and swap them in with 512s or 1 terabytes. And so I just have a ton of 256 gig SSDs sitting around. It's one of those things where it's like, well, if it's a laptop that can take 2 drives, or if it's you know something that's only got a hard drive, I could in theory at least swap that out. But yeah, I like storage. Thankfully, is not getting expensive in quite the same way that that memory is. Let's go look at storage, CPU's memory, monitors, past storage. There we go. Yeah, so very slight upward trend comparatively. I mean, so that's SATA drives. Yeah, there are definitely people who are talking about. I do not understand video games, but I'm glad that other people do and can give answers. um, yeah, no, and that's I again talking about like the way that things started changing computer wise in like the mid 2010s, I guess. Like the massive pivot to Chromebooks and tablets and things where it's like you know you're essentially dealing with like a mobile operating system. You're doing no local storage. Like I don't know, man. Computers are different than when I was a kid, and I kind of want to teach kids more about computers. So, but um, do 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 you guys know what the difference is between like an NVMe drive and a SATA drive, and like how that looks price wise? Because that impacts the way that the prices are like basically an NVMe drive, like it's got a little plug thing. It looks like a piece of RAM. It looks like a RAM module, whereas the SATA drive like looks like a hard drive. They both basically have the same guts, but it does make an impact. They both basically have the same guts storage wise, but they plug into different parts of your computer. If you have an older computer, it may not take an NVMe drive. It may require a SATA drive. And it was also very fun for a while because there were like different standards for like NVMe and it was absolutely extremely possible to order the wrong fucking SSD, which happened a few times and was annoying. But yeah, the uh, uh, the price differences here. So these are SATA drives. I think you're going to see a trend up more in the SATA drives than in the NVMe. Uh, eh, Yeah, no, those are all. So, but you can also see these are less extreme. It's still not great. It's still not great. Hard drives, baby. Hard drives. Love me some platters. They're very very reliable. So here's yeah, you can get SATA to NVMe adapter cards, and you can get like so the issue was like it's the connector, the ones that were kind of an issue. And if you're looking at this internally, like the like amount of storage that you have is also going to make an impact. So if it's set up for SATA, like is it going to have the space to put in like whatever NVMe drive you're looking at? And the other thing is that like you would get like I don't even remember what the different standards were, but it's like okay, it's the NVMe with the two prongs as opposed to the three prongs, and oh no, it was very annoying. It was very, very annoying. These days, it's a lot simpler. But the hard drives have stayed stable. And one of the things that I personally like about hard drives, and that like from a business perspective, I like about hard drives, is that like your data recovery options are better, and failure is less catastrophic. Like there's a chance for mechanical recovery in a way that doesn't really exist for SSDs. You can still get some data off of SSDs, but it depends on the state that it was in when it shut down. But in case you were not here early in the stream, so let's see. Yes, the hole was just fine. It just did not fit in the computer's box. um, yeah. So basically, that's the thing. You're talking about the exact same kind of compatibility deal. It's like it's like whatever Thunderbolt versus USB-C or USB-A versus USB-C. Like it just is the wrong port. But we are if you joined the stream recently and were not here for the beginning part of it, this is not the scary price trend. The scary price trend is memory. And that's the thing that I have been wrestling with a bunch at work. And the example that I use is the DDR5 5600, which basically all of 2024 and up till September 2025 was around $100 for two 16 gig modules and is currently at $500. It was a different price when we looked earlier today. Wasn't it at $450 when we looked earlier today? Okay, fun. Okay, here's the other thing. I'm going to be cautious about recommending this because it is a technical thing that like there can be issues with it. If you are looking at upgrading your RAM, RAM is one of the things that I would feel more comfortable about purchasing used or refurbished. It's not ideal. You wouldn't necessarily want to do that. It's certainly not like the preference, but it's less likely to have a failure that's going to cause any massive issues in terms of like data loss or like breaking shit. So if you are looking to upgrade your RAM, it is possible to find used RAM out there, and that is one of the components that I think is better. Like I wouldn't get a used SSD. I would be cautious about a used processor except for some very specific circumstances. Used RAM, that's less of an issue, especially if you can get something that's a system pull. So yeah, the non-standard connectors, it basically just like everything, every I'm trying to remember. There was a project that I tried a while back. We had somebody who brought in a hard drive from 1989. And it was massive. It was like this fucking big. And it was a I think it was a 40 megabyte drive. It was huge with teeny tiny amount of storage. But basically, what I was trying to figure out was like, if you could get it powered on, how would you get the data out? And trying to figure out what connector could talk to what connector could talk to what connector could talk to what connector to actually get you the information. And um, like that's basically the same thing that we go through, but with like micro generations now. When it's like, okay, cool, SSD has been released and it's a brand new technology or whatever, like in whatever 2016, and so then it was just the race to figure out who was going to like win that connector. So but yeah. Do I have that ancient drive photo on my computer somewhere? I probably do, but I probably shouldn't dig for it. Yeah, if you have a friend who's offering older RAM, so the thing to I completely abandoned working on the website, which is good because that was only like if I didn't have anything to talk about, I was going to work on the website. So I'm glad that folks are hanging out and chatting about stuff, because and asking questions, because that means that I don't have to. It means I can put it off. So, but misdemeanor.com, ms-demeanor.com, is my website. And I do have a computers and technology page that explains a lot of this. So I do need to write these three. How does my computer work? What slows down over time? But hardware. So the guide to buying a computer, I believe, is the information that has like the components you need to care about. So this explains the difference between the different components and like how they kind of work. RAM, if you have a friend who is offering you used RAM, this is the information that you need to worry about. RAM generation, the actual physical size of the module. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that people actually use the wiki. I don't ever look at metrics for it, so I just kind of hope that people are looking at it. So I caught sight of something the other day, and it said that it was getting like a fair number of hits, but like I figured it was probably just like crawlers. Yeah, so basically, for the RAM, if you have a friend who is offering you used RAM, the important things to know about your computer are what RAM generation your computer takes, what the physical size of the module is, what the max your motherboard will accept is, and what the speed of any current modules you have are. You can mix and match speeds. However, it is going to limit everything to the lowest speed. So if you have somebody who's offering you 5600 and you have 3200 installed, all of it is going to be at 3200, and it might cause some issues. So, oh yay! Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that people are saying that. I'm also going to put a link because again, like I know I just like spelled that out loud quickly. So we'll just pop that in there. Did that go? No. Okay. All right. There. Yes. So yeah, basically like I mean, if you wanted to get, again, this is absolutely something where if people want to ask questions about a computer that they're looking for, if you have questions about like, what RAM would work in my computer, if you want to give me a model or something like that, we can dig into that and I can show you how to look it up. Sometimes it's extremely frustratingly difficult to look up the RAM that is compatible with your computer. That's fucking stupid and I'm mad about it. Oh, you know what I should do is I should not dox myself. I need to adjust a couple things before I do this more regularly. But in case you are new to, I don't know if I've linked this as one of the resources, but IFixIt is this is how I end up with a million tabs open. Okay. IFixIt is how you end up with, or IFixIt is a really good resource for people who are like looking to fix